Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Respected Director IRI, PI, NAEP Cast, Dr. Krishnathan Sir, Nodal Officer, NAEP Cast, Dr. Manjaya, and all the core team members of NAEP Cast, and dear students of IRI, and also the faculties who have joined us in this webinar. I welcome all of you to this first webinar being organized under the aegis of NAHEP CAST. And in the time of lockdown due to COVID-19, we are all stranded in our own place. And this is a good opportunity for us to interact. And we have started under NAHEP the web lecture series every Saturday. And we are really grateful to our Honorable Director that has kindly agreed and give his consent to address the students for the first time here on this platform. And I not take much of your time, and I request our PI, Dr. Viswanathan sir, to introduce the speaker.
Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Dr. Burman, and we are very happy to start our the webinar series. I also add my own words of welcome to Dr. AK Singh, the Vice Chancellor and Director of the Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Sir, I profusely thank you for kindly agreeing to deliver the first webinar, and in fact for your continuous guidance for the implementation of the NAHEP project. So although our director is known to all of you, it is my privilege to introduce him to all of you once again, so that when many times people say you will remember everything. So our director was born in a farmer's family at village Barhat, Ghazipur, UP in 1962. He obtained his BSc Agriculture and MSc Agriculture in Genetics and Plant Breeding from BHU in 1985. And then he obtained his PhD from Indian Agriculture Research Institute in 1992. And then he has joined as a scientist at IRI in 1994 and then promoted to senior scientist to 2001. He served as professor of the Division of Genetics and head of the Division of Genetics since 2000, and also served as joint director research, and he joined as director IRI on 18 January 2020. He has dedicated his research career for more than 2.5 decades, mainly on improving the basmati rice, and currently is the #1 rice breeder. He has released several rice varieties, of which the most famous one is Pusa Basmati 1121. It has at least 2 world records. One is the longest cooked rice length, and I think the another record is the rice variety which earned the highest foreign exchange among all the rice varieties released. The cumulative foreign exchange earned through the export of Pusa Basmati 1121 since 2008 has been more than 21 billion rupees. The annual foreign exchange earning alone, it is about 25,000 crore. Thus, it has brought prosperity to millions of the basmati growing farmers in India. Besides, it has touched lives of the many people around the world, because Pusa Basmati 1121 is eaten by people all over the world. And he has used molecular breeding tools now to immunize the Pusa Basmati 1121 for various diseases. And I am sure that this variety will enhance the farmers' profit more. And he has more than 150 peer-reviewed research publications. He has received several awards for his outstanding research contribution. And some of them are the Borlak Award, Rafi Ahmad Kidwai Award of ICR, Sri Om Prakash Basin Award 2017. Besides his research work, he is an excellent teacher. He has guided 5 MSc and 15 PhD students, and more importantly, 7 of them have received IRI merit medals, and 3 of them have received Jawaharlal Nehru Award, and many of them are leading scientists in India today. And to recognize his research contribution, Dr. AK Singh has been awarded with IRI Best Teacher Award, as well as ICR's Dr. Bharat Ratna Dr. C. Subramaniam Outstanding Teacher Award in 2013. For his recognizing his contributions in the research and teaching, he has been elected as fellow of all the national academies. More importantly, National Academy of Agriculture Sciences, Indian National Academy 2018. So with this brief introduction, I welcome Dr. AK Singh to deliver the first webinar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Viswanathan, for your kind words. It's very overwhelming. It was not brief, quite elaborate, and I feel quite, humble. It's all has been possible because of the great colleagues like you and many and a strong team, and the patronage of this strong institution, and the predecessors who laid very strong foundation for research. Particularly, in case of basmati rice, starting from Dr. Swaminathan to Dr. Siddiq to Dr. Zaman, Dr. VP Singh, and all my colleagues at present. Now, this I'm very happy to be on this occasion speaking to all the students and the faculty members, and I can see Dr. Alka, Dr. Majaya, Dr. Roy, Dr. Sahu, Dr. Behra, and Dr. Bhattacharya also was here in a transformed way with grown mustaches. Many people have gone under transformation, and COVID has made people get transformed in their look, transformed in their ideas, thinking, the way you conduct yourself, the way you live, and everything has gone under change. And that's a big lesson that we have, really achieved and learned during the COVID. Today's presentation is primarily how COVID has impacted the agriculture in Indian context, and what is our preparedness for future in order to address such calamities that come. So I would like to start with the presentation. Now I will like to go on to the presentation, and the presentation, I share my screen here. So the title of my presentation is Prospects of Indian Agriculture in Post-COVID World, Challenges and Opportunities. Dr. Viswanathan says Dr. D.K. Yadav has also joined, and welcome Dr. Yadav. A lot of inputs. Of course, we had been discussing on this issue every day, in and out, when council asked us to prepare some input from the subject matter division, and we have been working on this together. If you see during this period, there have been large number of publications. Almost every day you find an article, and the article on coronavirus directly related to agriculture, and that shows how important agriculture has been in this whole process. So you can find series of articles on different aspects dealing with the unsung heroes like farmers, and then the challenges for future, challenges in marketing, and so on and so forth. Now, one of these articles, it reads very interestingly here, the unsung corona warriors. Now, if you see the analysis done here, today we are very comfortable in terms of our food grain stocks. The India entered the lockdown on 22nd of March with roughly 77 million tons of rice and wheat in our buffer stock, while the standard norm for buffer stock is about 25 to 30 million tons, but we had almost 3 times more food grain in our buffer stock, and that was very comfortable situations that the country was not worried about on the food front. The plus 2.25 million tons of pulses in the public go down, but the unsung heroes, without whom all this grain now being distributed distributed or cooked in food camps would not have been produced at all, are the country's farmers. Those women and men have kept supplies going even without being designated frontline corona warriors. So we have doctors, we have nurses. They are corona warriors, but no less are corona warriors our farmers who have helped in sustaining our food system in the time of crisis. In spite of this crisis, the happy thing about to feel is that the latest estimate of food grain production that has been released very recently, and according to the total food grain production in the country is at 295.67 million tons, which includes 117.94 million tons of rice, which is record so far. Last year we produced about 114 million tons. Wheat is going to touch 107 million tons, which was about 103 million tons last year, and likewise other cereals and oilseeds and also the fiber crops. There has been bumper production, and thanks to farmers that in spite of all the arts in terms of managing farms, machineries, harvesting, marketing, that they have been able to do this. Now, the positive growth rate, particularly if you see for all challenges that agriculture sector continues to face in India, the sector has shown incredible resilience, growing at 11.3% in spite of problems. The agricultural sector growth has surpassed non-agricultural growth in April-June quarter of the fiscal year. India had bumper food grain production, as I said in the previous slide, and you can see that the total food grain production is almost 10 million tons higher than what was produced in 1819. The output of rice too is scheduled to go up by 1.5 million tons, and so is the oilseeds. Wheat procurement has been great. Additionally, the retail fertilizer sale has grown by 45.1%. So this speaks volume about the coming crop, availability of inputs and everything in place, but there are some issues, and these figures speaks for themselves, and it is important to maximize the possibility in this sector. And the recent announcement that has come by the government on supporting agriculture sector out of the 20 lakh crores package, almost 1.7 lakh crores has been allocated to agriculture sectors and the various sectors which have been supported. I have a few slides on this in the yesterday's announcement by the Honorable Finance Minister. So the prices have taken a bit a hit because of the sudden downward plunge in the demand from hotels, because all hotels are closed, restaurants are closed, street foods is closed, and therefore this has impacted particularly fresh fruits, vegetables, and these stuffs have been affected. The dairy prices, including milk powder and milk cow butter, have also crashed from 300 rupees to 117 rupees per kg and 320 to 230 rupees kg respectively. The farmer's income also is affected because the price realization is less. Even the procurement has been done in mandi, but the payment has not been made yet. Farmers are having many mandis. I am talking on day-to-day basis with the farmers, and because of the untimely rain, of course, that has nothing to do with the corona, but these untimely rains have hit the grains lying on the floor because the labor was not available to put the grains in bag and stock it, and therefore the grains in mandis, they were lying open on the floor, and because of rain it is rotting. Many mandis are smelling very badly. The artis are of the concern that they will get problem, health related issues because of the rotting grains in the mandi. So those are the kinds of the little problems there that needs to be addressed on priority. And certain issues, for example, the mandis are though open, but the number of farmers who can visit the mandi are highly restricted. So general procurement system is that every farmer is informed by sending a one-time password OTP on their mobile phone number. They are registered in the morning, and then they are told that you bring your produce by evening. and the farmers have a real problem because labor is not available. They cannot fill trolleys immediately. They cannot take it to the mandis. So that is leading to some problem, but still things are happening. And then in some states, particularly, for example, Uttar Pradesh, there has been 15 a limit set for the wheat procurement, 15 quintals per acre. Now we know that the average yield of wheat is about, say, 52 to 55 quintals per acre per hectare, and that comes to around 22 quintals per acre. So 7 quintal difference that per acre. If you are registered for 40 acres, then you get only 600 quintals of wheat procured, and the rest you have to go for a distress sale in the local market. And those are the kinds of things which are concerning farmers to some extent. The problem with marketing, not production, and that's what I was discussing. While there were not any major constraints in getting labor for harvesting the Rabi crop, because Rabi crop harvesting is mostly, mechanized using combines, and the problems lies in selling these crops in mandis. Most mandis were closed initially, and when they have opened with a lot of restrictions. The efficient market mechanism for procurement need to be devised, and one option is to spread out buying beyond mandis. So local procurement, maybe at common places, schools or things of that kind, so that farmers can easily access there and still maintaining isolation distances. But this can be only because you see about 30% grain is procured by the public distribution system, government agencies. The rest is done by private, and the private agencies are allowed to go and make camps of procurement in different regions. I think that will facilitate farmers, which has not happened so far. Now, the availability of seed for Kharif season is another major concern. Because of ongoing lockdown, there is a shortage of trucks and laborers for packaging and dispatching the seeds. Of late, government has run special trains from the areas of seed productions, because we know that most of the Kharif crops, particularly hybrid rice seed or hybrid maize or hybrid jowar, hybrid bajra, 100% seed production takes place in southern states, particularly in Andhra Pradesh. And the crop is harvested by, say, April end, and it has to be transported to North Indian states within a month time. And this period has been going under lockdown. So this availability has been a little problem, but big companies have been able to manage somehow. But there are small players who have suffered in this. There is a need for special trains to transport migrant laborers for transplanting paddy. This is one important issue. I've been talking about it for quite long. So generally, we saw that a lot of labor migrated during lockdown period, with the beginning of lockdown, and even now migration is happening in very large number, because people have lost their job and there is no work. And mostly these are the workers who are factory workers, construction workers, and because of the closure of factories, there is no job. So they have migrated. But when it comes to transplanting of paddy in the states like Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, all this labor comes from Eastern UP and Bihar. And this labor arrival time is around, say, 20th of May or 25th of May, because transplanting in these states starts from 15th of July. Before that, there is ban on transplanting. So this was the time when the labor would have come from Bihar and Eastern UP who would transplant paddy, and almost 80% transplanting in these states happens by the migratory labor. Since we do not have mechanical transplanting system available in rice as of now, this is a major concern, that the trains which we are going to drop the laborers, construction workers to their native places, the same train could bring the laborers for transplanting. And the number is pretty large. One article, Harish Damodaran has done this analysis, and almost you read 1 million labor to transplant the 6 million hectare paddy area in these states. And for want of these laborers, the paddy transplanting is going to have a big suffering, and we have to see what alternatives can be provided. There is sudden drop in transport compounded with excess oil supply in the world market has resulted in significant drop in oil prices worldwide. This has impacted sugar and alcohol industry, affecting farmers and mill owners worldwide, including India. India. Low demand and prices of sugar can be attributed for following factors: closure of restaurant, cancellation of weddings, and you can see this used to wedding seasons, and each weddings you will have hundreds of people coming for food and so on, joining the wedding celebrations and other social events, reduction in out-of-home consumption and institutional demands. All this has got bad hit. Sugarcane juice is fermented into ethanol, alcohol of 99% purity, which in turn is used for blending into petrol. But because of drop in the oil prices and most alcohols offset, there is no more feasible option. So this is part of ethanol and sugar production that used to go there. The molasses is restricted. Indian industry exports raw sugar, and with the declined demand worldwide, the mill owners have to deal with excess stocks, hence affecting India's export earning. I find even in case of basmati rice, when you interact with the exporters, because of the lockdown and certain markets closed, the exporters are having real difficulty in meeting the target, because there is certain times when this thing is required, and if you don't meet the commitment of consignment sending on time, then you lose the trade. The measures taken by government so far: announcement of rupees 1.7 trillion package to protect the vulnerable section, including farmers, from adverse impact of virus. This included an advance release of 2,000 rupees to the bank account of farmers under Pradhan Mantri Kisan scheme. Then increase in wage rate of workers under NREGA. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana announced certain facilitation and additional grain allotment to registered beneficiary for the next 3 months. And this we see every day, in our campus. All, even those including, staying in the suburban quarters, some of them, and some construction. The government has created a temporary by which, by giving your Aadhaar card, you can be given a temporary ration card and each individuals. Now, opportunities to explore: make in India in pharma pesticide industry. So likewise, this has thrown many challenges. One challenge that we are having is that this very effective communication system. People sitting in different parts of the country, and still we are able to interact. This morning we had a review of one of our projects funded by DBT on germplasm in rice, and there were 100 participants. And we did it through Zoom, and it was damn cheap actually. It's hardly, I think, total $54 for 1 month. 24/7 you can use. So today for 4 hours, if you see, this cost doesn't come to 150 rupees, 50 rupees, and 50 rupees for 4 hours is nothing. So now we have got for 1 month. Likewise, I think for all our meetings, Zoom, absolutely there is no problem. We can use this also, but that can also be used for specific meetings, because there are certain other facilities there. Now, India relies heavily on the import of crop protection chemicals for making end-use formulations. So the chemical comes, the active ingredient, and the active ingredient is then translated into the formulations. Now, with the import taking a hit due to COVID pandemic, the government could encourage backward integration by the pharma industry to reduce reliance on imported, particularly chemicals, those coming from China and many other countries. And that's why a few days back, the list of those pesticides was asked by the council, which are off the patent, so that we can have sufficient domestic production of these to meet our requirement. With the right kind of investment in this industry, India could emerge as an alternative global player to China of both formulation product as well as technical material. And that's where our scientists from plant protection and agricultural chemicals, they have to take lesson how we can use this as an opportunity for our benefit. The speeding up the process of granting registration and to the domestic manufacturers. So these things also will get simplified, because we have to meet the challenges. Now, strengthening the agriculture and food security system, move towards mechanization of farm activities, including harvesting and transplanting. This is a real challenge. So far, India being a primarily rice-growing country in 44 million hectare area, we have not come out with mechanical solution of rice transplanting. Of course, there were regions that the manual labor was available at a very cheap price, and therefore there was not much investment in the research part to design paddy transplanters which are suitable for planting in different soil types. Because same planter cannot work in every soil type. There are soils which are very deep soils, there are shallow soils, there are sticky soils, muddy soils, and everywhere you have a specific problem. Raising nursery has been a challenge for the mechanical transplanters. So all those things need to be researched, and we must come out with a solution for this. The other specific solution is whether we can move in big way to direct seeded rice. That's very important because in direct seeded rice, the mechanical operations are possible. You see, 100% of our mechanical harvesters, combined harvesters, they are domestically manufactured. They are manufactured in Punjab. So if those can be done, why not the transplanters can be done? But it was not a necessity, and I see that is one of the reasons why so much not has been done, but now there is a need to do it. The greater push for ENAM to strengthen last mile delivery of produce, provision of technical expertise to farmers to facilitate the smooth operation of online mandis. ENAM, every time I try to understand how it functions, and I discuss with my economist friend and I get confused. How does it really work? If a farmer in Tamil Nadu wants to sell his maize product in the mandi of Haryana, what is the mechanism available, how it is auctioned, and if we have difficulty in understanding the process, the farmers will have still more difficulty. And if we can quantify that ENAM being in place, what proportion of our trade in mandi is happening through ENAM? If we have say 100% trade, out of that, have we reached even 5%, 10%, 20% through ENAM? I think therefore, if not, there is a need. What kind of research need to be done in these areas, and our scientists in economics division probably can address some of these problems. Investing in better infrastructure for maintenance of food grain stock, which stood at 73.85 million tons as on April 1st. And this, of course, the government has taken care. The 1 lakh crore announcement has come specifically for developing infrastructure, which includes the cold chain, it includes godowns, and all these systems, improvisation of mandis, providing extra facilities there, and even, for example, in mandis, loading, unloading, and filling the bag. Why this should be done by manual means? Why these things cannot be mechanized? So, for example, if you go to a sugar factory, the cane enters from one side, and from other side you get sugar packed in the bag and stitched by a machine. Why can't we have similar system when the trolley arrives in the mandi, and then automatically it gets unloaded, it gets filled into the bag, and bags are stitched without involving manual labor. I think that kind of mechanization in mandis is extremely important. It is required because no more we can depend on the laborers for this particular job. Making provisions for health coverage of farmers akin to health insurance scheme of COVID-19 health workers that has been provided. This is also important because they are also working under all kinds of hours. The more budgetary allocation in agriculture sector, especially research and development, to enable the scientists to support new and creative research solutions. This is very important. But unfortunately, out of 1.7 lakh crores which have been given to agriculture sector, the R&D is left out. There is not even single penny on research and development. So you will see that distribution for different sectors, but R&D is left out, and that's where I think there was a need, because without research and development, it will not be possible to support the future demand. The long-term challenges to be addressed in the farming sector, the investment in key logistics, the small and medium medium enterprises dealing with raw materials as well as e-commerce and delivery of companies and startups. Dedicated toll-free helplines. They have to function much better way. Institutional lending of crop loans for a smooth flow of credit to farmers. Then welcoming more intervention by private sector. Structural reforms such as land leasing, contract farming, and so on and so forth. You see, agriculture, so much of facilitation has been given by the government, different government, but still we are restricted. For example, we want to move the seeds of paddy to our farmers in Mera Gaon, Mera Gaurav project, but still there is a restriction on the movement. So those things need to be supported and streamlined. The structural reforms such as land leasing, contract farming, and private agricultural market, these things also need to be looked into. Of course, I have discussed the issue of direct seeded rice. I think this is a very potential and important area for research for future for addressing the problem of water, addressing the problem of labor shortage in the states where the labor is a major crisis. Then long-term land and technological reforms to rethink the basis of MSP and PDS system in favor of big two staples like rice and wheat. So far the minimum support price is given to these two commodities, and they are procured by government, at least in some states. There is a need to rethink on this on the basis of what is the basis for, in fact, defining MSP, minimum support price. So today, if you see wheat 1850 rupees per quintal, or rice for that matter 1850 rupees per quintal, but if you look at the cost of cultivation and lease cost and family labor, all these things put together, you hardly have any benefit in rice cultivation. So on average, for example, if you get something like 30 quintals of rice per acre and the rate of 18,000 rupees, you get about 54,000 rupees per acre. Out of that, the total cost is about 20,000 rupees of inputs. And then if you put family labors, even two persons are involved, and at 350 rupees per day, if you took their labor for 4 months of crop, then there is nothing left out. And in addition to that, the farmer who has leased a land, he is paying 50,000 rupees per acre for the two crops. So overall, I think the MSP, which is currently there, it has to be at least doubled in order to meet the C2 plus 50% proposition given by the Dr. Swaminathan's committee, a recommendation of Farmers Commission. Then crop diversification, there is a lot of talk about it, and I will come to some slides where government is going to take some very stringent action in order to address the problem of labor shortage and also the water problem. Aggregation of millions of small and scattered farmers across the country, development of agri-logistics to strengthen value chain, using smart technologies, artificial intelligence, blockchain, safe delivery to produce and real-time monitoring. And with a possible switch to healthy dietary practices in view of the virus, the government also needs to promote healthy and nutritious food chain to boost immunity, and particularly the nutri-cereals, the coarse grains in particular. They should become an important part. Now, promotion of localized production of diverse and biofortified crops is another area if we have to look into the nutrition and health, because health is directly related to your ability to get infected with the diseases. Use of drones in precision agriculture, government is thinking big way, and many problems in agriculture, particularly which are highly labor intensive, can be solved by drone. And so far we have no clear guidelines, policies. The government, the Ministry of Agriculture has recently thrown a big tender for purchase of drones, and particularly for deployment of drones to for surveillance of locusts in Rajasthan, Gujarat, and bordering areas, and also for aerial spray of pesticide. So, but there are many researchable issues. I don't know if there is somebody from the agricultural chemical and from entomology division listening in this group. That when we go for application of pesticide using drones, the standards have to be different. The type of pesticides have to be different, because the amount of water that you use for spraying the pesticide per acre is just 8 liters for 1 acre, while you are using 250 liters per acre in ultra volume sprayers. So in the normal sprayers. So how do we standardize what kind of formulations and what is their effect? Their effect, for example, exotic desert locust, polyphagous pest, which travels in swarms and is known to damage crop by attacking on leaf, fruit, seeds, and bring down the trees with their weight, because so many locusts sometimes sit, although individually they are very small, but then if they since in millions and billions, the problem comes. The locust has expanded its territory this region, moving from scheduled desert areas to productive agricultural land in Haryana and Punjab. Drones could be potentially used to combat the spread using unmanned aerial vehicles or drone in aerial spraying of pesticide. But for all this, we need standards, and those standards have to be developed by institutions like us and then put forth to Central Insecticide Board and Registration Committee on the procedure also. Additionally, drone can be used for remote sensing, pest surveillance, analysis of field and soil estimating crop heights, and so on. The standard guidelines for this use is required to be developed, and Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare are to work jointly with the Ministry of Civil Aviation for developing suitable provision. This is important. Then, as far as the climate change are concerned, COVID-19 has made several, the impacts are very, very visible, and the greenhouse gas emissions are declining. Water and air quality has improved drastically. Birds and wildlife are returning to forsaken habitats. Those changes are there. But then we need to re-emphasize the importance of conserving natural resources, especially agrobiodiversity, increasing carbon sequestration, improving soil health and water quality, generation of renewable energy, scientific eco-engineering planning, efficient water and nutrient use, diversification of crops, and greater dependence on locally available plant-based food system. So these are some of the issues that need to be looked into. The science, technology, innovation, STI are essential, and we need to go for disruptive innovations, precision farming to increase productivity and income, and timely delivery of inputs to farmers through more from less approach. And then out-of-box ideas, meat from single-cell protein, biofuels from algae, accelerated fish farming, improved livestock breeding, and plant-based proteins. Now, coming to the support that government has provided, COVID-19 stimulus package, the center has announced 1.63 lakh crores package for agriculture and light sector. Now, this one, if you see here, the 1 lakh crore agriculture infrastructure fund has been given, and this is so vital and crucial, particularly because most mandis, if you see the kind of situations, and the mandis in Punjab and Haryana and Western UP are far more advanced than mandis in any other part. Some are good in Madhya Pradesh, also in southern states, but this is important. And then you look at the Haryana government decision. Haryana government has come out with a directive that धान की खेती अगर कोई किसान करता है तो उसको परचेज नहीं करेंगे. Initially, they came out with the idea that if somebody is doing paddy farming on lease land, they will not be allowed to do so. And if they do it, it will not be purchased. So I think almost 60% cultivation of paddy happens on lease land. Now, what is the alternative to those farmers if they do not do paddy cultivation? What they will cultivate? The government is, of course, giving Haryana government giving 7,000 rupees per acre as subsidy, but that 7,000 rupees per acre subsidy is not sufficient. So, what is alternative crop? Whether the varieties, seeds are available, and if farmers grow, what will be the procurement? And those are the issues that are really needs to be looked into. These are the supports that government has come out with, as well as the infrastructure sector, 15,000 crores, 20,000 crores to fishermen through Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Then from tomato and onion and potato top, to total 500 crores given there. And then fisheries section additional is stepping during COVID. The different aspects have been, facilitation for doing trade, etc., has been brought out, and the National Animal Disease Control Program for foot and mouth disease and brucellosis launched the total outlay of 13,343 crores. It ensures 100% vaccination of cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat, and pig population, which is about 53 crores of animals in terms of number. Till date, 1.4 crores cows and buffaloes tagged and vaccinated. Likewise, agriculture additional step towards COVID taken. A number of measures supporting farmers was explained yesterday. Additional measure taken during last 2 months are below. During lockdown period, minimum support price purchases of amount more than 74,300 crores has been given for procurement. And then PM Kisan Fund has transferred 18,700 crores rupees. PM Fasal Bima Yojana has claimed a payment of 6,400 crores. Then beekeeping, several and to enable better price realization by the farmers has been brought out by the government. Then National Animal Disease Control Program, investment of 13,343 crores. I think the slide has come earlier. This is a repeat. So the study announcement related to farmers, 30,000 crores additional emergency working capital for farmers through NABARD will be provided, and 2 lakh crores credit goes to 2.5 crores farmers under Kisan Credit Card scheme. Now, these are great supports that have come up from the government, and I'm sure this will help in bringing a lot of reforms. The farmers are definitely in distress, and the immediate problem is for the farmers to take up planting of the next crop and realize the value for the crop that they have sold in the market. Promotion of herbal cultivation, 4,000 crores on this, and then agriculture produce price and quality assurance. Several initiatives there for risk mitigation and facilitative legal framework. So 1 lakh crore for agriculture infrastructure, and this includes cold chain, post-harvest management infrastructure in the vicinity of farm gate, causing gap in value chain. Focus has been on short-term crop loan, while investment in long-term agriculture infrastructure has often not been there. And financing facility of 1 lakh crore will be provided for funding agriculture infrastructure project at farm gate, irrigation point, primary agriculture cooperative, societies, farmers, producers, organizations are going to get good support from this. Agriculture entrepreneurs and startups, they will be benefited from this funding. Now, several reforms have also been taken up in the education sector. The Education Dr. Agrawal has come out with guidelines for the universities and both central and deemed universities. The curricula delivery through e-learning, and this we are seeing every day in and out. All our 100% faculty is running the courses through Microsoft Team very effectively, and the problems meet many meetings and other seminars, symposium kind of things have come to halt. But with these facilities, you are not really feeling that so bad. The implementation of a students ready program, customized 5 component of a student ready program with a RAWE experiential learning and in-plan training, hands-on training, and a students project to suit prevailing situations. Internship, rescheduling academic session. This is a major decision because of the delay in examinations and things of that kind, and conduct of ICR only entrance examination for admission. These are the major challenges immediately. And the advisory to agriculture universities is that the examination to be conducted online, offline, observing guidelines for social distancing. GP of the students could be composite of 50% marks on the basis of internal evaluation and the remaining 50% marks can be awarded on the basis of performance in the previous semester if we are not able to conduct the examination. So there are provisions we can do that. And in cases where previous semester marks are not available, 100% evaluation may be done on the basis of internal evaluation. So the only thing I am feeling personally a difficulty in communicating using this system of communication through Microsoft Teams, that uh, when we say the internal evaluation, now in classroom internal evaluation is very precise because you have eye-to-eye contact with each and every student. What is the reaction of a student, who is listening, who is understanding, who is responding to your question, and so on and so forth. That is very easy in the classroom. But in the current system, it is a little difficult. Because in internal evaluation, you have to connect the students with the question that he is asking, the understanding, and also who is that person. You have to look at the face of individual also. Then only you will connect for the internal evaluation system. Here, that part is slightly missing. So when I'm taking classes, like I keep asking them, are you with me? Are you are not with me? If you have any question, and so on. But you find that the questions will come only from known 3-4 voices you will hear. The others will not come forward. You have no way, because you are not looking at the students, you can't communicate directly with them. So that is a limitation I am feeling in teaching using this mode. Last almost 12 lectures I have taken in past for my one course, Innovative Approaches. But that's a kind of problem coming. We have to see how we can address that. In cases where previous semester marks are not available, 100% evaluation may be done on the basis of internal evaluation. And when we open and we come back to the lab, and hopefully from Monday, we will, at least all those who are based in the campus and in Pisikon should be ready to join. What we need to avoid is that the large gathering, probably we may not have very soon, for a few months at least, any gathering in BP Pal auditorium or any other auditorium for that matter. The lectures in group lab meeting, these are to be prohibited, and a general procedure to test employee for COVID-19 as and when required, creating sign-up calendar with lab benches, desks, and sterile workplace marked with different colors, physical distancing norms to be practiced in one's lab as well as surrounding labs. We also have to tell students, if there are 5 students in a lab, we have to precisely distribute their time so that there is 1 student at a time in the lab. And even if they have to work overnight, doesn't matter, we should keep the lab open. But we must ensure that there is physical isolation that is done, social distancing that is done. And when students also should take responsibility when they are leaving the lab, they should sanitize the lab completely. All workbenches should be sanitized with alcohol, the chairs, tables, wherever they are working, that should be sanitized. And not only that, when the next person comes in the lab, he should also do that sanitization completely himself. They have to be told, they have to be trained, and they have to accept it. And this is for their own safety. So that has to become a part of our practice. All divisions at the entrance must have sanitizer on both sides of the gate, and nobody should enter without sanitizing their hand. So these are the things actually that we have to keep in mind. When we open with maintaining social distances and guidelines, and therefore the problems is avoided. We have there are a couple of articles and their links I have provided here, which I had read for in order to prepare this presentation. And if you are interested, you can go through these articles. I must thank, as a matter of fact, my daughter Simani. She did all this job. I was doing something else yesterday. She was able to put things from all these articles and
on live.
Okay. At the end of successful completion of this first webinar, on very important topic, that is challenges and prospects of Indian agriculture post COVID-19 scenario. So I formally propose a word of thanks to all those who made it possible for organizing virtually this webinar today at 3 o'clock till now. Almost we spent 2 hours. Sir, we would like to thank our director, who is so inspirational to give the ideas, and the difficult times are not really difficult, so because to learn the technologies and also to implement all those decisions which we generally take in one-to-one communication. So sir, today is the time and the day we chosen to start with the first of this kind, and it is going to be a regular feature at least once in a week. And in the near future, we are going to double it even in web talks also by inviting many eminent people and so relevant to our NHP cost theme as well, sir. So I start with the presenter who made it so amply clear, the unsung heroes, the farmers, the scientific fraternity and the policy makers who made it during 1920 to achieve almost 10.46 million ton higher yield compared to the previous year. So that is 295.67 million tons food grain production. So this is a record we have to be commended, and also it needs appreciation not only to the farming community but also the technologists and as well as the policy makers. So we thank all the support from ICR to IRI and all other flagship institutes in the council. So coming to the attendees list, sir, so all the students who have registered for one of our compulsory course, Science and Society. So you can remember that again reflects what we generally teach and learn in house or in the lab or in the classrooms. So generally, which was confining. So it was the vision of our previous director, Dr. AK Singh. He suggested to implement this course from this academic session, and this is the first batch of the students who have taken this course, sir. And they are getting this kind of information, first-hand information. The information what today we gathered, including our own faculty members and all of us, it is an eye-opener to, without reading so much of the books or periodicals or any literature, so we could get in 1 hour time, so that all the aspects starting from the challenges and also what kind of reforms we are going to take up at our level, institutional level, and also contributing to the council and vice versa. So I really thank you in guiding us and initiating this program. And Dr. D.K. Yadav, of course, we could not hear from him today, but he is the one person, he is a liaison between ICR and IRI, and all of us, we really get the first-hand information, the policies changes and all those ideas through him. So I really thank for him for joining this program. And Dr. Vishwanathan, the PA and the head of the division plant physiology, and he is the key person to liaison with ICR education division, sir. As you just mentioned with respect to the academic reforms, so we do have a strong person of your stature at the ICR education division. So now we are getting the support as well as the cooperation for the students and faculty at IRI, and one of the kind gesture is with respect to NHP cost, so which the student-centric program has been initiated, and we are going to expand this during this year also. This is the last year, so most of this ICT-based enabled technologies and tools we are going to make use of, wherein we require our dedicated core team members. I fail in my duties if I don't recognize them, and also all the associate team members, and particularly Dr. Burman and Dr. AK Singh, who are the two core team members they are looking after with respect to ICT tools, recording of all the video webinars and web series, as they did so successfully for our CAST training, sir. So we have many ambitious plans to complete the targets as we have given to the NHP CAST project. So this year is going to be much eventful and more ICT enabled. And some of the aspects you have amply projected. The challenges, of course, as you said, they are actually the prospects that if we implement step by step, so we are going to achieve all those things. So without wasting much time, the important stakeholders for this webinar today were the students and also the faculty members, sir. So in one go, so all the things have been taken care and imbibed by all of us. And I only request you to, if it is possible, kindly share those slides to the students or Dr. Burman, so that he can share with the students. So that will be, they will be may have to give some assignment or some report to the course leader what they have learned and what are their any questions and other things. So this was an opportunity to get the answers what they were having in their minds, sir. So this was an unique opportunity, though we could not see the student in person, but again it was a two-way process, not only listening to you but also to get what they are thinking, because few points which are emanated through our discussion with our core team members. Dr. Burman was telling that there are some students, they are studying the impact of this COVID-19 on the labors or the issues related, and few MSc students are taken up this project, sir, as a revised ORW. So that was permitted by you as well as the dean. So these kind of issues have already been sorted out. So I thank all those who made it possible for this arranging this webinar. So I thank each one of you for sparing your valuable time, sir.